Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the rest of 2025. We're going to do something different. Each one of these rows is going to represent something different, and I'll explain it at the top of each row. So your first row is going to represent what is being revealed to you at this time. You have this love and this healing chaos card. It's funny, the word chaos I think came up in one of your recent readings that I did for you. And so you definitely could be smoothing things out in your life. It's really funny as well that, or I should say, what's kind of funny to me is that at the beginning of 2025, the 2025 readings I did, almost everyone, the main theme was that people should be like simplifying their life, or should be looking for things to simplify. And now at the end of the year, it seems like everybody is simplifying or smoothing things out, making things easier in their life. So again, that could be a big focus for you at this time. Kind of like just trying to make your life easier in whatever way that you possibly can. Also, could absolutely be love that is being revealed to you. Again, this first row is going to represent what's being revealed to you at this time. And again, we have the Two of Cups here. So if you're looking for love, I would definitely be open to it. In this first row, you have the Seven of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. I kind of feel like some of you are seeing as well, like where you have been closed off with that Seven of Wands energy. Seven of Wands is my card of conviction. Personally, I like the Seven of Wands. It's a card that says when you know that something is for you, then it's for you. It's kind of like a card of believing something so deeply that you make it happen, right? Whatever it is that you're trying to make happen. But also the Seven of Wands can be a card of like boundaries, drawing a line in the sand, and having boundaries, things like that. So it's not necessarily bad, but he might be trying to protect something a little bit too much. So for those of you that do want love, I would open up to it. The other thing is we have the Ace of Cups here. And the Ace of Cups would be about being open to things that cause you to overflow. So again, the love card here doesn't have to be love like a person. It could be you being open to do more of what you love. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, of course, is resourcefulness. I think that what's being shown to you here by the universe at this time is maybe the resources that you do have at your disposal, or just how much you have. It's like the universe is trying to show you abundance, but maybe not money, but it could be any resource that you have. I also think the universe is trying to get you to collect more resources with the Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. It's actually pretty simple here, Cancer, because the Ace of Cups is anything that can cause your emotions to overflow. That cup can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up on this card. So sometimes I think like fun is a resource, or sometimes I think fun can give us a resource that we don't realize, like a form of energy or something like that. And so the Ace of Cups can sometimes say we need to like go do things that cause us to overflow, because it might help us with some other resource in our life in this situation with the Queen of Pentacles. And so I do feel it's encouraging you to do that. With the Healing Chaos card, the Ace of Cups is about like heart-based healing and making sure that you're, again, doing more things to heal your heart, whatever that means for you, right? And so let's see what is going on for you. With the Seven of Wands, what do you know? It's like you are the only sign that constantly gets their Major Arcana card so for some reason, Cancer. So you're showing up as yourself here, which is great. This definitely puts you in a position of power and strength, allows you to get what you want from the reading. It can help you find success as well, and this could be some sort of victory. But again, it's just you. So whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the King of Wands. Yeah, this could be your own internal strength, could be the resource that you are discovering. He's very brave, bold, assertive. And, I kind of do feel we will be seeing a new Cancer, especially once we get into next year. Jupiter will be entering into Leo. It'll be leaving your sign. I always say that usually we get the benefits of Jupiter after it leaves a sign specifically. So, again, you might be feeling more bold, more confident, more assertive this year. January is pretty pretty interesting as well, I would say. Even though this reading is for the rest of this year, I would still say, I want to tell you to pay attention to January. We have 10 conjunctions in the month of January, which is pretty crazy. I was looking at the astrology for next year the other day, obviously, and that's where I noticed that we have 10 conjunctions. And I couldn't find another time where we have so many conjunctions in such a short period of time in the astrology. And conjunctions are like the most powerful transits that we can experience. So the beginning of the year could be very powerful for you, but I think it's having to do with your inner power. And the reason I'm telling you about this now is because, again, you might be feeling this now or early, maybe in like November or December. You start to feel more like brave, bold, assertive, like you should be taking more chances. And I feel that you should. I think this will be a good thing for you. Even the Chariot is about setting yourself apart. But obviously, to do that, you're going to have to be confident to set yourself apart, and I would be. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Five of Swords. Yeah, Five of Swords is about needing to trust your intuition. I kind of feel like this is true for a lot of people right now, especially in love. Like, we really have to listen. We really have to listen. So if you're attracting, you have the Two of Cups right next to it. Two of Cups can be a person who's different than your usual type. And so maybe you really have to listen to your inner voice on whether or not you should, date a person or go out with a person. I feel also that, if we're like moving forward, if we are going to make mistakes in love, we will probably know right away. And, we will, even if it takes a year to break up with a person, right? You will probably say to yourself at the end of that year, I knew that at the beginning that this wasn't going to work, right? So why am I telling you this? Well, obviously, if you get into something and it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, right? So you should be trusting your intuition more, right? And it's not even about that. It's really about trusting the evidence as well. It's like, I think most people are really bad at first impressions. I think people think they're good at first impressions, but they're really not. So, including me even, right? So it's like you can meet a person and your first impression might not be correct. So what we really have to look at is the evidence. Like, what results does a person get in life? And if they get good results, then probably a good person. If they get bad results, then you need to trust that as well. And I feel like that's what the Two of Swords is saying. Next, we are going to look at what's being kept hidden at this time. You have this reflect card and this record card. I think you do need to, I think it's an amazing time for you, Cancer, to look at all the things that you've accomplished. You have the Chariot and the Six of Wands, which is major accomplishments. But I feel this record card and reflect card is saying you need to reflect on all your accomplishments. One of the reasons I really love doing that is because, it kind of gives me the vibe. You have the Two of Wands coming up, and, it gives me the vibe that I think when we're about to do something in life that's big, like a big goal, wish, dream, if we can look at what we've already done in life, and then it makes whatever we're about to do easier, right? And so I think it would be a great time for you to look at your accomplishments. I also feel that some of you are keeping yourself hidden behind something with the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands can be like the fear of jealousy. This person right here is meant to look jealous of his success, but he does not care. He is on his high horse. He has earned his right to be where he is. Again, speaking of results, his results speak for themselves. There's nothing to prove. He has nothing to prove, is what the card basically says. And it says you have nothing to prove. And so maybe you should stop hiding. If you have a skill or a talent, gift, skill, or ability, I kind of get the feeling here that you need to let that skill out into the world. You need to let it shine, because your results will speak for themselves. And sure, yeah, maybe there will be people that hate on what you're doing, but who cares? Your results will speak for themselves. Plain and simple. And so I feel like you need to not keep yourself hidden, is what this card is saying. You have the Devil. The Devil can be something that's keeping you stuck. Really weird. A lot of Devil energy at the end of the year. I think this started at the end of September. The reading started having a lot of devils showing up, and the Devil can represent needing to let go of something that's toxic or needing to remove toxic, things from your life. Part of me feels that this is really because Saturn is retrograde in Pisces, and honestly, it wouldn't matter where Saturn was to me. Just the Devil constantly coming up is what I'm trying to say here. Is just, I think, Saturn retrograde, plain and simple. One thing I would say that's popping into my head throughout the entire reading here is I feel like you need to like pick something that's permanent, or I feel like it would be a good time for you to like have a project or something to work on that you work on or plan to work on forever. This, and it doesn't even have to be a project. It could be your health, your mindset, something you want to create. It could be your relationship. It could be anything. But I think having like a long-term project would be a good idea with the Devil card. I also feel, on top of all that, I feel like there's like some sort of fear that you're letting go of. I don't really consider the Devil to be a card of fear. Like maybe sure it could be, but that's not how I read it. But I do feel like there's some fear that's been keeping you stuck from having something that you want in your life based off of the rest of the cards. And some of you could be facing that fear this year. You have the Two of Cups. Definitely could be a solid connection for those of you that want it. Has this been kept hidden? I don't know. I feel like saying if you're interested in a person, I feel like there are a lot of things that are hidden, but in a good way here, Cancer. Let's say you admire a person, or let's say you've gone on a couple dates with a person. It's like, I think there's a lot you don't know. In a good way. Like, you will discover a lot about this person, and that will probably make you very happy. It's like maybe this person is very different. Two of Cups is someone who's different than your usual type. If you meet a person, I would say at the end of the year here, same thing. It's like, I think there's a lot more than meets the eye. And I'm not trying to be mysterious here because, and again, I think you will figure it out as you go along. But I just think there's something about the whole first impression thing that I was saying. It's like your first impression of this person might be like this big, but it's like they are like this big. I feel like there's a lot more than meets the eye. You will discover a lot, so it'll be worth it. With the Six of Wands, yes, you have the Three of Cups. Definitely time. I think you have kept yourself hidden for too long. I feel there are things that you need to reveal about yourself to the world. This could be like literally, it could be figuratively, it could be how you express yourself, but I feel a lot of you are going to be expressing yourself in a different way. And again, this makes perfect sense having had Jupiter, with Jupiter in your sign. With the Devil card, you have the Strength card. Yes, we basically talked about this with the King of Wands. There's definitely something here about your strength or your inner strength or how you use your power. And the Strength card is about taming your inner voice. The Strength card is like the devil on your shoulder, but she is the one that is in control of that devil on her shoulder. She is taming that lion, right? And so I think that is what you could be taking control of here. Again, this row is meant to represent what's been kept hidden. And maybe you haven't known what the devil on your shoulder is, that little voice in the back of your head. And you could be taking control of it now. With the Two of Cups, you have the King of Cups here. Yeah, could be any sign. You have like fire, you have earth, you have water now. You have Sagittarius. Actually, you have divine counterparts right here. So it could be a divine counterpart coming in for you, for those of you that want love with the King of Cups. A lot of stuff about your emotions here, Cancer, as well. Like, I would make sure that you're doing something to nurture your emotions. Again, we have a nurturing end to the year. We have Uranus retrograding into Taurus. There's something about that I think is asking people to like really care for things in their life, really nurture the things that they want to grow in their life. And so that's also kind of popping into my head here. Next, we're going to look at what adventure the universe is sending you on at this time. And you have this Strength card and this Neptune card that says vision. Yes, having the strength to accomplish your vision. If that isn't the end of Neptune and Pisces, I don't know what is. Again, we have Neptune and Pisces until January. And as I've probably said to you before, if there was ever a time where you could accomplish like the impossible dream, it would be right now. And so I think that literally the universe could be asking you to go and accomplish something that you feel is hard or difficult or that would cause you to expand or would take you to new places. You have the Six of Swords and the Two of Wands as well. Two of Wands, he has a whole world in his hands. There are literally no limits to what he can accomplish. The only limitation is right here, strength. Then you also have strength right here. Again, she is the one that tells her mind what she can accomplish. Her mind does not tell her what she can accomplish. So I think you need to take control of your mind here. Is like, in a lot of ways, that is an adventure, right, Cancer? Cancer, if you're enjoying this type of reading, let me know in the comments. Leave a comment, drop a like, really helps me out. You have the Six of Swords, the Five of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. Six of Swords is moving on to calmer shores, heading towards improvements. A lot of you, it gives me that back to the drawing board type vibe. The Six of Swords, this woman and the child in the boat, they have nothing on them but the clothing on their back. And so, is this really back to the drawing board? I would say no. I think this is more reinvention energy for you, Cancer, which I'm pretty sure I've said to you recently that if you've been working on something for a long time, I don't think you're like stopping it or quitting it or anything like that, but you might kind of be starting over. I always use the example of books, right? It's like a lot of famous authors, they were writing one book and then they stopped writing that book and started writing the book that made them famous, like George R. R. Martin, the guy who wrote Game of Thrones, right? Before he started Game of Thrones, he was writing another book that he stopped writing to write Game of Thrones. And a lot of authors have the same story. That is the Six of Swords sometimes, where it's like we are doing something and then we learn enough that we realize we have to do something else. And so some of you might be going on that adventure right now. You have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups is like regrets or sadness, but it's like, yeah, sure, he might be sad about this, but the story of the card is that he no longer enjoys his taste for wine, but there's something much, much better right here in this bridge in this castle. So if he were to like turn around and see these two cups, he would get this bridge in the castle. So I feel for a lot of you that it's like time to let go of anything from the past that didn't work out or hasn't worked out, and it's time to completely change your story. And it's kind of interesting that it's popping into my head that like you almost could do that, but like I'm not even sure what I want to say here other than I feel like things are completely different in your life and you might not even realize it, right? It's like if we're just constantly telling that old story, you're like, oh, I'm a failure, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. It's like, then it's true. But it's like, what if you don't, like, it's almost like the universe is saying to you here, or to me, to you, in this reading, that the energy is completely different and you might not realize it. So it's like, now I think is the time for you to go on the adventure of being more optimistic and being more hopeful because that energy exists. You show up again as yourself here with the Queen of Cups. So, again, whenever you show up as yourself, could be putting you in a position of power and strength. Again, could be going on the adventure of love here, Cancer, if you want love. But the Queen of Cups really follows her heart. And so I do feel you are probably going on, with the love card, the Ace of Cups, Queen of Cups, King of Cups, you are probably going on the adventure that your heart wants you to go on. With the Six of Swords, you have the Four Swords. Four Swords can be resting, relaxing, recovering, of course. So you could be doing a lot of healing with the Four Swords. He's hoping and praying for a blessing. And, in a lot of ways, Cancer, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do this, but I kind of feel like you are stopping hoping and praying. But again, I don't mean that in a bad way. I feel like you're no longer leaving things up to chance is more the message that I'm getting here. I feel like you're more in this like action taker mode. King of Wands, strength. We'll see what else comes up. You also end with the Page of Wands. It seems to me like you're switching from hoping and praying to action, which is probably a good thing. With the Five of Cups, you have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords can represent needing to take a risk. And, this could be the risk of letting go of something with the Five of Cups. This makes a lot of sense to me, especially for you. Capricorn is your opposite sign, and we had Pluto in Capricorn for a long time. I think Capricorn is being asked to let go of something that once supported them. But again, you're the opposite of Capricorn, so, you could be being asked by the universe to release something that once did serve you in your life, and you're being asked to embrace something new. And, this could be like leaving a comfort zone or leaving something that has provided you with comfort for a long time. It's funny that I said Capricorn, because with the Queen of Cups, you have the Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn. You have the Queen of Pentacles twice here. Queen of Pentacles is an amazing card for resources, and we have the Ten of Pentacles right next to her. So you could absolutely be increasing your resources at this time or improving your resources in some way. And yeah, that looks really good to me here, Cancer. Like there could be some sort of great financial improvements coming in for you, and that could be the adventure that you're going on here. Next, we are going to look at what pattern do you need to release at this time. You have this healing energy. It says you're in the process of healing, eliminating any bad energy from your life, so maybe nothing. You have this divine infinity. It says challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations and you'll find your infinity. Yes. the whole entire reading, the first part of the reading says you need to let go of a comfort zone. So is that really a pattern? I don't know. Maybe you kind of have a pattern of like dreaming of big ideas that you never make a move towards. And it seems to me like you're making moves here, Cancer. Like, I feel good about this. King of Wands, strength. It's like you're no longer hoping and praying. Like I was saying, I feel you're maybe being a little bit more bold and assertive, but I think that's what this is saying. I don't think the healing thing is something that you need to break, by the way. Like, it's not a pattern that you need to break. I think you're just healing. We see a lot of good healing cards here, especially the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Cups. You have the Two of Wands, the Temperance card, and the Ten of Pentacles. He needs to challenge himself to go beyond his infinity, for sure. He is standing in a comfort zone. There's even a village right down here. It represents his comfort zone. He has the whole world in his hands. Getting out into the world would push him past his current limitations. This wand right here stands on its own. It's like a lot of people, I think, need to realize this, like that, we are in a time where pretty much all of us have something that probably stands on its own, and we're all being asked to move forward to something new, or we're being asked to move into a new world or some new reality. And he needs to get out into the world, and he needs to experience variety. I always say that I think the best thing all of us can do is experience variety right now. Meaning a variety of experiences, different ways of doing things, new ways of doing things, and I would just be exploring at this time. So it's like maybe you need to explore. You have the Temperance card. Yeah, I think a pattern you're breaking is like waiting too long is what's popping into my head here. He's trying to perfect something when he could easily get off on this path and go claim this crown. That crown, this is called the path to glory. And so I feel like you're no longer like waiting too long for things to happen. I just feel you're a little bit more on fire at the end of the year here. I think this will continue throughout next year for you as well, Cancer. So I don't think this is something that's going to stop, right? Which is good. I think you're a little bit more in an action taker energy, but definitely could be a pattern you're breaking. It's like maybe you have had a habit of like waiting too long for an opportunity or to make something happen, and I kind of feel like you're ending that. You have the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is very good. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. And so is this really a pattern you're releasing? Maybe, it's good, right? But, Ten of Pentacles could be a comfort zone, I guess, in some ways. It's a very good card, but, these people, it's like if you are one of these people on the card, it's like maybe you're keeping yourself stuck here. It's, this kind of, what's popping into my head is like safety. It's like playing it too safe. It's like, imagine, these people are inside these castle walls. They have everything they need. They have wealth, they have security, they have family, and 2 dogs, and, all this other stuff on the card, right? And there's nothing really wrong with that, necessarily, and, unless they are sheltered, right, from the world. It's almost like this reading is saying, like, yeah, sure, maybe where you are is safe, but there's a whole wide world that you could go explore, and there's a lot of things you could experience. And so are you cheating yourself out of experiences by staying in something that is this nice? And I'm not saying you should let your life go to hell in a handbasket, Cancer, but I am saying, there's a lot to explore, and that could be fun. That could bring in a lot more fulfillment. With the Two of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. It definitely could be ending a cycle. We have the Nine of Swords right next to it here with the Eight of Cups. So again, this row that we're reading right now is meant to represent the pattern you're breaking at this time or releasing at this time. And Six of Cups, Nine of Swords could absolutely just be a repeat cycle that you are releasing. With the Temperance card, you have the Two of Wands again. So exactly what I said. I feel like you're no longer waiting. Again, is this really a pattern you have to break? No, because I think you are. Like, I think you are going to do this. So I'm not too worried about it. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Death card. Yes, like I said, some sort of transformation. The funny thing about the Death card is we have this Pope-looking guy right here. He kind of looks like the Hierophant. And he can represent, like, he's begging for his life on the Death card. And he can represent some of those, like, beliefs or belief systems that we think protect us or we think we need to hold on to that we don't. And so a lot of you could be releasing some, old belief systems or something like that that you feel like has protected you but really hasn't. And, you could be changing those beliefs. Next, we are going to look at what ridiculous goal should you pursue at this time. And you have this marriage card. There you go. It says partnership, joining forces, romance to the next level, connection, coming together. So maybe love is the goal that you need to go after. You have this false person. It says false person or situation, frenemies, lies, betrayal, bad intentions, deceit, hidden enemies, and manipulation. Again, obviously this row isn't meant to be bad because we are looking at what goal you should pursue at this time. And it's like maybe the goal is that you have to face the fear that people are sometimes fake and not real. And I feel like the reading is maybe trying to tell you you have to find a person that's real, right? And that could be the journey that you have to go on. I think even if you don't want love, this is encouraging you to do that. You have the Three of Cups in this reading. I feel like it's saying you need to find the people who really support your life. And it's like we only have so many of those people, so it might be asking you to go on that adventure. You have the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Five of Wands. Nine of Swords is never-ending nightmare. Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you. I feel like this is like fear of making a move in your life. Like some of you, I feel, want to make some sort of move in your life, probably towards security with the Ten of Pentacles. And I feel this is saying that you have to face that fear. Nine of Swords is just can represent rumination. It can represent something that you're just thinking about over and over and over again. And again, I don't feel too bad about it. I just think that there's something you want in your life, could be anything, and you're just thinking about it too much. And I feel if you would just walk away from that security, you would probably get something you want much faster here, Cancer. So I would. You have the Page of Wands. Yeah, Page of Wands is about following your optimism. It's like, do you trust yourself is kind of the question I get from this reading. Do you trust yourself enough? Probably not. I think you could trust yourself a lot more here, Cancer, and there would probably be a lot of benefits that would come from trusting yourself a lot more, so I would. You have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands can represent competition, conflict, things like that. I feel like this is encouraging you to step into the ring here, Cancer, which I feel like I've said to you before, but there could be something that you want where there is competition for it, but I feel like you could easily win the competition. But it's like if you don't enter the competition, you're not going to get it. Is this really a competition? No. This could be like a promotion that you want, a raise. It could be a person that maybe you think there's competition for. It could be a business you want to start where you think it's too competitive. I feel like you have the opportunity to really stand out here, but you're going to have to be brave, bold, and assertive. I will give you a secret hack as well for Jupiter and Leo next year. Jupiter and Leo, we have to learn how to be a good actor. And that doesn't mean you're being fake, but what it does mean is that you have to, play the game in whatever it is you're doing. And so I think learning how to do that would be very good. With the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Cups, you have marriage, you have this marriage card, you have the Four of Wands. Are you kidding? So definitely the universe wants you to pursue marriage if you want that in your life. If you don't, and even if you do, I think that the Four of Wands is a card of freedom. And so the universe could be asking you to pursue true freedom in life and to set yourself free from all this stuck energy with the devil and the Seven of Wands and the comfort zone cards and things like that. With the Page of Wands, you have the Justice card. Justice is cause and effect and paying attention to what's working in your life. Justice wants you to do more of the things that return energy to you. And so we really have to pay attention to that energy. I think also that the universe is encouraging you to be more neutral. It's kind of funny that I said the whole first impression thing. I'm wondering if this is much bigger than I realized at the beginning of your reading, the first impression thing. It's like, I think the universe is trying to get you to be neutral, on everything. If you get an opportunity that shows up between now and the end of the year, it's like your first impression might not be exactly correct. I almost feel like the universe is trying to get you to sit with things just a little bit longer. That doesn't mean you have to commit to anything for the long haul or anything like that. What it means is I feel like the universe is trying to get you to look at the evidence. It's like if an opportunity comes your way, instead of taking action right away, can you sit with it for a little bit longer? Can you study it? Can you look into it? Can you research it and get the proof? And I get that feeling off the Justice card. Same thing if you meet a person. It's like, can you trust the evidence? With the Five of Wands, you have the Fool. Yeah, it could be some sort of new beginning coming in here for you with the Fool card. You also, I think this is asking you to jump into the ring, right? I think it's asking you to throw your hat into the ring. I think it's asking you to study the competition. The Fool wants us to take a leap of faith towards something that could make, that is a new journey. And that's what I would do here. But this looks really good, Cancer. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy the rest of the year.